introductions. We've had all the pomp and circumstance. We've had all the fuss and feathers. But it's time. It's time for Dodger baseball.
Hello out there. Welcome to podcast number 5 with our guest, Mike Gray.
What's up, Mike?
Do the claps.
Well.
You got the claps still? The claps?
No applause.
There we go. We always have to have the applause.
Doing well. Well, Seth. How are you?
Very good. Welcome to the show, Mike. Well, first things first, I'd like to say is this show is brought to you by, we have 2 sponsors today.
All right.
2 sponsors. Our first 2 sponsors of our lifetime here on this podcast. The first sponsor is from Body Works Massages. Oh, there you go. Body Works Massage, one of the best massages there are in Franklin, Tennessee here. Go online for Body Works Massages, get yourself an appointment, and best massages ever.
Treat yourself.
Yes, treat
For summer.
yourself.
Summer's coming up. You need to get in the right mindset.
Absolutely. You know, you're stressed, go ahead, get a massage by the best massage therapists out there in Middle Tennessee.
Mm.
I could always use one of those.
And by Yodl Music.
Yodl
Of course,
Music.
you heard from Matt Kalberg. He's the founder, and he's really doing big things out there. He had a really interesting conversation the other day, and maybe they'll expand it. Maybe we'll get some record labels or something going on in there. So check out Yodl Music, and for all you artists out there, go ahead and sign up and get started.
And venue owners, too. Go ahead and sign up some these great artists to come play at your facility and have some people come in and have some dinner and some cocktails.
Hell yes.
Here we go. All right, Mike Gray. How you doing, bud?
Not bad.
There you
Not
go.
bad. Long day work, but you know what? Anytime I get to go home is a good day.
There you go. Very nice, very nice. So Mike is an expert, basically, of expert. We'll say expert, maybe an expert. But Mike is a long friend of ours, of mine, definitely over the years. I met Mike during baseball. He was coach of baseball, Little League baseball, and he ended up drafting my son in baseball during those years.
Best draft I ever had.
Best draft ever. It wasn't like the football draft, the worst draft ever.
Yeah.
It was the best draft ever. But yeah, Mike was the coach of my son, and he was an excellent coach on it. Great bunch of kids, great family man, excellent coach. And so let's just start off with you, Mike. How did you? I mean, you're where are you originally from, and how did you get to this spot here in Franklin, Tennessee?
So grew up in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Family pretty much born and raised there. Most of my family's from there. My mom's side's from Texas, but we stayed in Arkansas. Came to Tennessee by virtue of my wife, Carrie, who got a really good job offer that we couldn't turn down, and basically she's my sugar mama.
There you go.
So I'm going to follow her wherever she goes because she's going to make sure I'm a professional hunter and maybe now podcaster. I don't know.
There you go.
Hey, whatever gets it going, right?
Very cool, very cool. Tell us your background a little bit in baseball, that's for sure.
Background, I started playing when I was 3, back in the late 1900s, like the younger people like to call it. They let us play at 3 years old, let us play T-ball. Hit straight off the tee, no pitching, no nothing. We didn't get to hit anything off a pitch until we were at least 8 years old. So started doing that. Actually played at the, I believe it was through Ron Sandberg, had a field out there that they named after him. He would come out there and he would actually do lessons. He would do camps.
So he's
clinics
from
and stuff.
Arkansas?
He's not from there. He would just come out. I'm not sure how they named it. I never really got the gist of it. I was way younger, so I didn't really know. But really cool cat. He came out there really great with the kids. Loved it. Moved to Texas when I was about 8 years old and really started picking up baseball there. Dad coached me most of the time. He played when he was younger all the way through high school. And he was he gave me a lot of the things that I have now. He was a firm believer of development, firm believer of team play. Winning was a byproduct of it. You got better, you're going to win. If your team was not good and they got better by the end of the year, that's all that mattered. The biggest thing was, like I say now and to this day, 20 years later, as long as they want to sign up the next year, you've been a successful coach. But I played through middle school, through high school, talked to a few scouts, really wanted to go third base. My dream was to go to Cal State Fullerton. That was never going to happen. I was not that good. But I had some scouts talk to me about DH and had a long talk with my dad when I was a late teenager and just decided that wasn't me. That's not what I wanted to do. Just kind of had that late teenage year mentality of I was more interested in outstanding extracurricular activities. So gave up baseball, and probably 21 years old, I started coaching. And I helped my parents coach a softball team, actually, a young girls softball team, and worked alongside my dad. He taught me a lot of the basics on how to actually talk to kids, how to do the things that I do. And that's carried over for years now, and now I'm doing it with my kids. I got the best job in the world, being able to teach my kids the same thing.
Perfect. That's awesome. I tell you, Mikey, I've always impressed with you at coaching. I take a lot of stuff that I still coach today, because I still coach right now, and I implement that in my system, and I read a lot of books too, and always trying to grow. I never, if you say you know everything about baseball or anything in life, you're an idiot. You know, I think you're always learning, even to the age 80, 90 years old. You're always learning to get better and to talk to people and how to grow kids and the game and just everything in life. So I appreciate that. I think that's a great thing. So you kids, you have how many kids?
I have 3 kids. I've got an 18-year-old who turns 19 in July. I've got a 12-year-old that turned 12 in January. And I have a 5-year-old that just turned 5 just this past Saturday.
Big.
Good Lord.
Yeah, big.
It's quite a spread.
Big spreads. Was not intentional.
And the same mama.
Same mama. Same mama. I would definitely not have a house if it wasn't the same mama. But, they're better than I was as far as by person or by player. So I feel like everything I do with them is just a learning experience for me, and I learn more from them than than I can ever teach them.
So. That's awesome. Well, I'm very familiar with the older one, the 19-year-old and the 12-year-old. Our kids played together in years, and I've helped you coach out in those years, and they're just great kids. Yeah. They're great kids, and you did right, you did great, and I know you got another one coming down. So
he's a fireball. He is a fireball. He's definitely the reason for all the gray hairs that I have now.
Well, the youngest are the best. I mean, I was the youngest of 3.
I'm the youngest of 3 too.
Because the parents are tired.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, and anything goes with that youngest.
I don't have that luxury. I was an only, so they got it right the first time.
So the youngest is going to be running around everywhere doing whatever he wants to do later on.
The youngest rules the house.
Yep.
The youngest basically lives and dies by the fact of what he wants to do, and we just let him do it because there's only one way to learn, and we just let him roll it. So
Experience.
He's
a great teacher.
You can learn by life, or you can learn by books, and I love learning by life.
Yeah, absolutely. I love baseball about it. It's I always tell the kids too, and it's a great learning experience too for kids out there to playing with a team. Ooh, excuse me. Playing with a team, and what sport could you fail 7 out of 10 times and still be successful?
I can tell you there's not a single one. I've played at least 4 other sports other than baseball, and if you failed that many times, you would have been cut before you ever made the team.
Yeah, I would say baseball's a sport of failure. It's how you deal with failure.
Managing your failure.
Yeah.
30% of the time, I'm all right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it is a mental game. Baseball is, they always say 90% mental, 10% physical.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't teach early that you are going to fail. Mm-hmm. But I teach it in a different method. I don't use the word fail because I feel like you only fail if you quit. So you learn. You learn how to deal with mistakes. You learn how to deal with errors. You learn how to deal with the mentality of, I did not make this catch. I did not swing and hit this pitch. I had a runner at third base. I didn't bring him in. We lost the game. That's the reason we lost. No, it's not. We had 15 other opportunities that we could have made it happen. It's not on you. It's a team sport. Mm-hmm. So I love the lessons that baseball teaches for life, mm-hmm. moving forward. It's so important that, you're going to fail in life. You're going to not get the job you want. You're not going to get the girl you want. You're not going to get everything you want in life, so you just got to keep pushing forward. Mm-hmm. Because eventually you'll get what you want.
Nice. I know, baseball has definitely changed over the years. from when you played to your older son played
Yes.
to your middle son, and now from your younger son. What do you see the difference is from your oldest son to the younger son? I have my little expectations of what the difference is, but I'd like to hear what you have to say on this.
The biggest difference, honestly, it is the mental approach. Mental approach of my oldest was perfection. He wanted to work. He wanted to get out there all hours and practice his art, and he wanted to make sure that if the situation came down to it, it wasn't going to be his fault that something didn't go right. He wanted to make sure he was ready for whatever situation was there. When I was playing, it was basically I'm hanging around my buddies. We're playing ball. Coaches out there in blue jeans shorts, tall socks, and some New Balance shoes, smoking a cigarette with the mesh hat on.
Hit them dingers.
Hit them dingers. Kent Murphy, before Kent Murphy knew what he was doing. Hoping I don't get in trouble for that one. But, it was more or less about being with your buddies. And it's become more of a business, it almost seems like. And it's where you can get looked at, who can come talk to you, how many schools you got looking at you. That's the biggest difference, I feel. When I played, it was not, that wasn't as big a deal. It didn't go around the hallways of the school saying, oh, I got talked to by this school. Oh, I got talked to by this school. You either were good and people knew it, or you weren't that good. People knew it, but they still respected you because you were out there playing. You just had fun.
Yeah.
Well, you had to have eyeballs on people back then, right? You didn't have all these videos and game changers
absolutely.
and highlight reels
Absolutely.
at sixth grade.
Social media it is up the ante on what you can and can't do. And really, it's limited what you can't do because you can do pretty much anything on social media and get away with it, and it seems like. But the biggest deal that I see is that it allows players to be more animated. And that gets the eyeballs. You start seeing the
bling.
loud, the bling,
The drip.
the
Yeah.
drip. You got the bright colors, the drip, and that's all of a sudden.
Like a Kuna.
It's
Acuna, oh yeah,
Yeah,
The beaded necklaces, the 5 chains on your body.
It's nuts.
It's absolutely crazy, and you got to keep up with the Joneses.
Yes, you do.
Well,
and
when does that start?
at
You know,
5 years old.
At 5, my 5-year-old, he wanted a pencil bat because it was the only bat nobody else had, and he loves it because when he walks up the bat, everybody's talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh my God, look at that bat! And my thought process is that how do you not know there's a pencil bat?
Yeah. Or a crayon bat.
Or a
I've seen
crayon bat.
crayon-looking bats. It's crazy.
It's just it's crazy how you want to stand out. You don't want to be part of another cog in the gear. You just want to stand out and be, oh, look at me. I have the brightest cleats. I've got the brightest gloves.
Well, the best right now is the
sliding
oven
mitt.
mitts. These are hilarious.
the sliding mitt.
These
And
kids-
sliding feet first with the sliding mitt.
Yeah.
I got to love it. And you saw it last year. You
Oh,
saw it
yeah.
last year. Every kid on our team had a sliding mitt. Not one person slid head first.
No. And
this is real.
Oh, these bats are nuts. And two, not to mention, these bats right now, there you go.
$200.
200. That's cheap.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
I wish that I had $200 bats in my bag right now.
Yeah, I mean, I went out the other day. I bought my son on the Hype Fire. Check out the Hype Fire. What's on that thing? How much that's running? Was it $350?
$350 to start, and that's for the U-Trip version. When you get into BB Core high school bats, they start getting completely outrageous.
Well, let's just talk about bats now. So you have 3 different bats. You have USA brand bats. That's for a rec ball.
Yep.
Then you have these U-Trip bats. Then you have you say drop 10, drop 8, drop 5. That means the difference of the length subtract by the weight in ounces.
Correct.
So then you have that. And then when you get to high school, it's called BB Core.
Yes.
So now your BB, what is that, drop 3?
Drop 3 BB Core, that's the standard for metal bats. Anything with wood, it's going to have drop 2, drop 3, drop 1. It could be plus if you want one, depending on how much you just really want to swing it. But typical rule of thumb is a drop 3.
Well, it's hysterical when you see kids walking around with a backpack, 2 bats, only 3, 4 bats in their backpack bag, and they're not even going to use them, and they're like, hey, I want to borrow that other kid's bat, It's kind of comical, but like Mike said, you have to keep up with the Joneses, the drips, the type of bats. Like I just went out and bought a tank bat.
Yeah.
Tank
We've
bat.
got a tank in our bag.
You got to have a tank bat because it's this new thing. I mean, not a new thing, but I think what's driving youth baseball is social media has definitely did its damage to it. and then you have these showcases from PG.
Perfect Game, PBR. You've got different sections. You've even got what they call the power. You've got the area code that is a different type. You have to actually be selected. Those are true showcases, so you have to be selected for those. But the PG and the PBR.
What is a showcase then?
A showcase is typically something that a player's going to go out. They're going to take 3 reps on the field. They're going to take some fly balls. They're going to pitch. They're going to hit. It's essentially, if you look at a dog show, that's basically what it is. Really? It's a dog show. You're out there to see what you can do. Whichever dog looks the best is going to win best of show. They're going to get ranked high based on their exit velo, based on their pop time for a catcher, based on their outfield velo, based on their 0 to 60 speed. 60 feet speed, 60 yard speed. So.
It's amazing how baseball has definitely changed from, you said, your oldest son to now. I mean, exit velo. I mean, that's why baseball I love baseball. It's a national pastime. I've grew up with it. My grandparents both. I watch baseball with them. I love baseball. Mm-hmm. Baseball is my favorite thing to watch. I mean, heck, we got the hockey playoffs on, and I love watching baseball still. I watch the Pirates versus Milwaukee. I don't care. Yeah. I enjoy it. But it's gotten to a point where it's not really about the game anymore. It's about how hard your exit velo is, how hard you can throw a baseball. And it's like back in the day, Greg Maddux, absolutely one of the best pitchers ever in history of baseball.
Never top 90.
Never top 90. There's no way.
He could, but he chose not to because he didn't have to.
Yes.
He could do what he wanted to do. He could make you hit where you wanted to hit. And basically, when you stepped into the box, every batter knew, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's going to throw.
Yeah.
He may throw it at me. He may make it look like it's coming at me. But if he wants me to hit it in the air, that's where I'm going to hit it. It was a true pitcher versus hitter mentality. Mm-hmm. You had to figure out what he was going to throw, where he was going to throw, because if you didn't, it was a long game.
Do you think they changed it even more so that they have DHs now instead of pitchers hitting?
So when it comes to that, I'm kind of a purist when it comes to if you're on the field, you need to hit. Mm-hmm. But I do get that pitchers have to fine-tune their game so much they lose track of being able to learn how to complete hitting. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to go up there and attack a baseball. You have to be able to get your BP rounds in, but you also have to be able to get your bullpen rounds in. And if you're having a 0-3 stretch, if your ERA is getting up, if your WAR's getting down, you've got to figure out how to fix that. And you're going to spend most of your time fine tuning that craft to make sure your numbers are where they need to be, so you don't get replaced by the guy that they just drafted and bring him up, and then now you're really screwed. Mm-hmm. So, because there's always somebody down there waiting to come take your spot.
Oh yeah,
that's what makes baseball such a just brutal marathon. Mm-hmm. Because there's always somebody waiting for you to mess up.
Well, that's another thing is too. You always see, you come out in the beginning of the year, they get the baseball magazines, you see all this stuff happen. You're like, oh, this guy's he's supposedly gonna be the starting third baseman, and then right after it, the top 20 in the farm system.
Yep.
Top 20 in the farm system. I had a friend of mine that played Major League Baseball, and he's like, that killed me.
Yep.
That killed me because he would be out there going, hey, I want $7 million to play third base. And they're like, well, we'll just pay the guy that's coming up that's going to hit just as good as you, $200,000, and we'll pay our top dollar guy even more.
Oh, absolutely.
So the separation happens more.
Yeah.
But let's get back to youth baseball too, Mike. It is all about drip. It's all about the bling. It's about look at me, the flash, the colors. How do you teach that to your, to separate it from your youngest son to your middle son to your oldest son?
Essentially, I just make sure they understand that what you wear does not dictate how good you are. It may make you feel better. It may make you look better. It may make you do all this stuff, but you're not the guys that are on TV playing. They've been doing it for years. They've been using, everything they wear is because it's sponsored. It's because they've been practicing. That's why they're on TV doing it. I have no problem against saying that if you look good, you feel good, you play good. But there is a point where, yes, it gets a little over dramatic, and I try to tell them that you end up keeping up with the Joneses. Mm-hmm. When you keep up with the Joneses, you're going to end up wearing 5 chains. You're going to end up wearing 50,000 colors. You're going to have cleats that cost $500, all this kind of stuff. But essentially, we just kind of try to keep it grounded and just try to let them know that it's not about what you wear. It's about what you do on the field. It's about how you present yourself. It's about trying to make sure that you respect the game. Respect the game.
Yeah,
you know.
I may repeat this. I don't know if I did or not, but it's amazing with these kids with the drip. You have the oven mitts. It's got to be crazy colors. It's got to be the chains, the helmets, the 17,000 bats that are in there. I saw a comedian. I died laughing, and I even used it too. As a matter of fact, I think in one of our games that we had last year, and I looked in and I said, "Wow, guys, we have about $10,000 worth of bats in here. We got 2 hits.
Yep.
Hell of a job, guys." I'm like, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's crazy if you see that on the screen. It's all different colors and neons and fluorescent. Like I went out and bought the tank bat for my son because why?
The tank.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's like you just said earlier too. It's in between your ears. If he feels good or you feel good or the kid feels good, he's going to play good. But again, it is all about look at me. But again, it's such a difference from when we played. I may have repeated this, but I'm not sure if I did. But last night we had a baseball game, and our kid hit 3 home runs. 3 home runs with this hype fire bat, this super duper bat that the thing just shoots off, and these bats break within a year or two. It's like, I got to buy a new bat.
Or two, not necessarily a year or two. These things are breaking on the first swing. I remember we had my oldest, when he got the CF Zen, kid brought it up there, and he was using a Marucci bat. He was a big Cat 8 fan. He loved the Cat bats. One of his teammates brought up, and this was in 12U, so this was about 6 years ago. The CF Zen was the big bat. That was the hype fire of the 2012, 2013. Jackson, my oldest, he big power lefty. So he asked his friend and said, "Hey, let me borrow that. I've never hit one before." First swing in BP, he breaks the bat. That's a $300 mistake at the time.
You were coaching?
I was coaching. I was an assistant coach. I wasn't the head coach of this one, but I was
What'd you say?
Sorry, my bad.
Was it warranty at that time?
It
too?
was warranty. So
Okay.
DeMarini's warranty was actually, we found out the hard way that DeMarini's warranty was not the best ever. It was, you break it once, we'll replace it. You break it twice, that's your fault.
Wow.
And luckily, that was the first time it broke. And I told my son, do not ever use somebody else's bat again. You use your cat.
Wow.
You're hitting just fine with it, and that's what we did. But we were Marucci people. I knew one of the reps at Marucci. He always hooked me up with some cool bats.
That's awesome.
He called me when they had the new stuff in. He got me one that was the big money bat, and I had his name engraved on it. He asked me, said, "Do you want one of these?" I was like, "Heck yeah, I want one of these, man."
Yeah.
Naturally.
Of course.
I want his name on it. We got to, I got to follow the drip.
He's part of the bling. He's the issue. That's it. You're an issue.
I'm part of the problem.
There you go. Because you know what? As parents, we're like, sure, you can have what we didn't have.
Absolutely. I had my Easton bat from Walmart.
The green Easton was always that best, and the black magic.
Yours was green?
The green Easton.
My green was worn off.
Okay.
it had been worn off because the 10 players before me were able to use it, and then it was a trade-in bat that I ended up getting.
Well, hence what happened last night. So this kid hits 3 home runs, all with the hype fire bat. The last one, it was, comical. He takes it and just zips it up in the air. It's flipping home run. So now every kid on the team wants to use his bat.
No, because it's the bat.
It's the bat.
It's not the swing.
Not the damn bat that I just bought my son of a bitch son right there because he $300 and something, and then the other kid has an Icon, and the other kid has another super bat, and the other one has this Dub, the new damn Dub bat. These bats are ridiculous, and my buddies that are listening to this, they know every time a kid hits a home run, I scream, "These bats are stupid." And then when someone hits a home run on our team, I go, "I love these bats. They're the best bats ever."
And I feel somewhat responsible because Seth did call me right before he bought the bat and was like, "Hey, Mike, which bat should I get?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, you usually go a little cheap on the hockey gear.
Oh,
it sounds like
cheap.
You're splurging on the baseball
Well, you
trip.
got it, dude, because you're saving money because hockey is too damn expensive. Baseball, I'm like, sure, I'll do 2.
We got the Wish.com version of sports with baseball when you have to spend money on that.
Well, what about travel baseball? Like, when did you first start getting into that, Mike? Like,
Oh
what
my
age?
gosh, this is really it's
There
going
you
to make
go.
me sound really bad, but so I will speak well of my kid. He was a very, very talented ball player from the get-go. I can remember he wanted to play when he was 3, and he cried when they told him he couldn't do it. By 5 years old, we were approached by a team that was a 6U team that played T-ball. They were T-ball travel.
Now I want to jump across the table and punch him
T-ball
right in the face right now. I really do, Mike.
No, this is your oldest son, right?
This is my oldest. So this is back in 2000,
like 2005 or something.
No, he was born in 06. So this would be 2012.
Travel T-ball.
Travel
T-ball.
T-ball. Now let me tell you this, okay? Me and my
You
wife
can't
at
say
the time.
It was
anything.
$4,000.
You
It was
can't
a
say
hell of a
anything
deal.
to defend this.
No.
You should have seen the tees they were using. Some of these tees were fire.
They were all fluorescent.
This was when we first dipped our toes in it, and I'll kind of touch on this. Seth knows the statement that I'm going to make in just a minute. That I became one of those people, and I realized real fast not to be. But of course, my child, the apple of my eye, the future MLB,
Your firstborn son.
Firstborn son, the future obvious MLB player just got selected to play on a 6U team. He's
That's
5, so naturally we knew at that point his future's set.
Yeah, he's going D1. Get it going.
We're short of getting tattoos of the Texarkana Razorbacks on our arm and hashtagging everything before hashtags were a thing. He got picked up, and I will say this team was ridiculously good. They, we played in tournaments, and we're talking T-ball now. And if you get an idea of T-ball, you're thinking a bunch of little trying to herd cats for an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah.
And trying to get them not to play in the dirt. There was no dirt playing here. This was serious baseball.
They had structure.
We had structure.
Yes.
We had plays set up. And the coaches would tell the other player, hey, hit it to right field. Hey, hit it on the ground to left field. There were games that would end 3-2 after 6 innings. It was absolutely
in T-ball.
This is
T-ball.
6 years old.
Does everyone bat?
Everyone batted.
In your T-ball. So
everyone batted. Even my kid who
No. So did you do 3 outs and go?
Oh, it was 3 outs and go. No, it was full
So,
blown. It was baseball, but off of a tee. So basically, it was
Regular baseball.
Regular baseball, but off a tee.
Okay.
And at the time, there wasn't U-trip bats. You had the barrel size of the bat is what made the difference. So you had 2 1/4 barrel, you had 2 5/8 barrel, which was senior league, and you had 2 3/4, which was cheater bats. Cheater bats were actually not that hot. The 2 1/4 barrels were ridiculous. Do you remember the old orange Easton bat that came out? It may have, you probably don't because your kid's younger than my oldest, so you probably don't.
Yeah, no.
There was an orange Easton bat that was the hot fire of back then.
Oh, wow.
This bat was ridiculous. It was super hot. It was super hard to find, and we had 3 of them on our team. And this ball, the bat would rake. It really would. It was a trampoline like crazy. So we're playing on 180-foot fences. Kids bombing. And then we're so good, we get to go to Sulphur, Louisiana to play in the World Series of T-ball. This was USSSA. Now, to the benefit, before I'm crucified for
like Tiger Woods right here.
Yeah, we got Charlie Woods out here in the baseball. But so this is the thing. Back then, this tournament was a 36-team free-for-all. It was a double elimination, winner take all. There were no brackets. There were no multiple divisions.
I'm going to stop you right now because
ahead.
I can't wait to hear the coach pitch one, too, because after T-ball, it's coach pitch, and then that must go really crazy then. But go ahead. Sorry, I cut you
Coach
off.
pitch. That's a whole other book.
Go ahead. Finish this.
36 teams literally from all over the area, all over the country. We had teams from Mexico in this thing.
Jesus.
Now, I can remember hearing the coach from the team from Mexico, and now I have all the admiration for these guys. They're bringing their kids up from Mexico into the U.S. to play ball because a lot of times that's their only out.
Yeah.
So they're told from a young age, you want out of here, you've got to do this.
Well, like the Dominican Republic.
Same way, Puerto Rico, Cuba,
yeah.
all that. So I'm watching this team play. We're playing them, and it's a quarterfinal game, and my kid's up to bat. We got a runner at first. There's one out, and he smokes one off the bat straight to shortstop. Shortstop fields it, tosses it to second. Now, these are 60-foot bases, mind you. Tosses it to second. The second baseman at 6 years old barehands the ball and turns a 6-4-3. At 6.
The Mexican team?
The Mexican team. What they call the South Texas Bravos. They were not South Texas. They were the old South Texas.
Okay.
But after that game, we're all sitting there. Even my kid was like, "What in the shit just happened?" I've never seen this before in my life. I've never seen a 6-4-3 turned in T-ball.
No.
So after the game, I went up and I asked the coach. I said, "Man, how in the world do you get these kids to do that?" 200 balls a day.
Oh, wow.
200 balls a day. Now we move to coach pitch.
There it is.
So from that point on, we played travel ball from 5 years old up. We were playing travel ball up there. We get into coach pitch, and we had a team that honestly was, in my eyes, still probably one of the most talented teams that I've ever seen. They were really, really good.
I mean, with coach pitch, too, it's almost yes, they're good, I'm sure. I mean, the fielding is insane. That's what you got to work on.
Yes.
As a coach in coach pitch, you go, all right, Johnny, swing. All right, that's your swing. I'm going to throw the ball to your swing. And that's exactly, I mean, but again, it's not, it's more defensive in this side.
It is much more defensive because it is basically just batting practice for these kids. It's batting practice as they get older. In Texas, during that age group, it was actually machine pitch. So they put a jugs machine
Oh,
out.
that's awesome.
So it was basically just 3 years of batting practice off a tee for T-ball. And then you go to machine pitch. And the tournaments were coach pitch. They weren't machine pitch. So we had to teach them on the fly how to hit from a coach versus how to hit from a machine that was a guaranteed strike versus a coach, myself included, who could barely find the strike zone half the time and was so scared to death of getting his teeth knocked in because these kids could hit the ball 100 miles an hour as it was. But it was a much more defensive, which that's where I've always been. I'm always a defensive-minded coach. If you can't score on me, you're not going to beat me. It may be a 0-0 game, and it may last for 3 hours, but I'm not going to give. That's just how it is. But
that's actually the best thing to do.
Yeah,
coaching.
I'll take a fundamental team over a talented team all day long.
Correct.
And, so we go through that, and he played travel ball from that until the time he was 18 years old.
Okay.
So he had literally 13 years of travel.
What is the difference that you saw, especially from moving from Arkansas, Texas, Texarkana to Nashville? I know there was a big difference of style, things. What did you
Style
say?
ball. So the area we were from, it was a suburb of Texarkana.
Mm-hmm.
Texarkana is a ridiculously talented group of people there. I mean, there's talent just bred there. They've got, matter of fact, 2 kids from the same high school just got drafted to this year's NFL. Same class, same team. They just got drafted from the same high school.
I always think of Texarkana with Smokey and the Bandit.
Smokey and the Bandit was there. Also, the town that dreaded sundown. Town that dreaded sundown from that time.
All right, so
I can tell you a story about that one. We watched movies in the same field that the murders happened. They never caught the guy, but that was every night on Halloween when they did that.
Nice. Sorry.
No, I can get off on that one. So Texarkana, it's lower income, so there's a lot more reason to want to get out.
Okay.
You find that a lot of these smaller towns, people want to get out. Sports is a good way to do it. In Texas, sports rules. Football, baseball, basketball, doesn't matter. Whatever you can do to get out of whatever town you're in. The big metroplexes, they got talent, but they're not the same as these small towns. When we moved here, it was more of entitlement. It was more because now we were dealing with pay to play. My kid, my coaches, my dad. It's most of the time when you're under 13, that's what you're going to deal with. Very few professional coaches out there under 13 years old.
And you're talking Williamson County, like
I'm talking Tennessee.
just Tennessee
In
in general.
general. And it's at the time, so we really, in our short term in Tennessee, we were only familiar with Williamson and Murray. So what we saw was basically money ruled everything. And if you weren't happy, take your money to another team. It's a revolving door. That's the one thing that I've noticed more than
But
anything.
you did exclusively travel.
We did
when you came
exclusively
to
travel
Texas, so you
with
didn't
my
do any
oldest.
rec.
With my oldest, we did exclusively travel.
Okay.
But your younger one, middle one, you started with rec.
Middle one, I started with rec because my oldest, I did start with rec as well. He did play rec and travel. And again, about to be crucified by Seth, we were on average of about 60 to 70 games a year with my oldest one.
Yep. At what age was he then?
Oh, 6.
That's it. That's
I remember he wanted to
Get the
retire.
boxing gloves, we're
words,
fighting.
The exact words from my oldest was, "Dad, I think I'm ready to retire from baseball."
Now, did
at
he
6 years
play
old."
any other sports, or was
He
baseball?
played basketball.
Okay.
He was
So
he
he's
was a
got the
good
winner
basketball, and
some,
he played golf. He loved playing golf. He was actually a really good golfer until he gave it up when he was about 10 years old because somebody got it in his head that his golf swing is going to hurt his baseball swing.
It's true, though. It's true.
Only if you can't hit. If you don't know how to hit,
Yeah,
then
it's
it's
true.
true.
Yeah.
But
He hit. He can hit.
he can hit. He
can mash.
The dude could rake. I will give him that, and he carried that. That was one of his biggest things. He was a hell of a first baseman. He pitched until he was 13 years old. I remember vividly his last day of pitching. He played against a national team from Rawlings. They called him in to pitch. He gave up 22 runs.
That's hey, listen.
And he actually, so he makes fun of that, and I'll tell that one in a minute. But he stopped pitching, focused primarily on first base. Then as he got older, it was more of a DH position because by the time he was 15, he had already topped 100 miles an hour on his exit velo. And it was crazy because nobody talked to him. No coaches came to see
Until
him.
he saw the velo.
Once they saw that velo top 100, I got a phone call. Analytics was born at that point.
It's
I
live
saw
and
it.
well right now.
I
That's
saw
for
it,
sure.
and his,
And this was what, 2020?
he was, let's see, that was his 8th grade year. So, yes, 2020. That was the year of COVID.
And we knew each other then.
We knew each other then
Yeah.
because that's after I had coached the Hot Rods out
Hot
of FBC.
Rods, yeah.
And that's when I met Seth, and my life has never been the same.
There you go.
But there's a lot that I can say that's good with it. I don't regret one single second, even though for the first 3 or 4 years, I was a travel ball parent.
Yes, you were.
After that, I became the parent of a travel ball player. And I've told Seth this many times that there is a significant difference between the two. You have your travel ball parents and you have your parents of travel ball players.
Yep.
Travel ball parents are the ones you see with the loud cups, the big head signs, the ones that my baby is here, my baby deserves to play this, my
The
baby is
walk-up
that.
music.
The walk-up music, the drip.
Yep. The parents with the drip.
The parents with the drip, the parents that wear the sunglasses that their kids wear on the
No.
baseball
Yes,
field.
Is this
yes.
real?
It's
The
dude. It's
parents-
awful.
The parents that wear the same.
Awful.
The parents that wear now I'm guilty of this as well. I wore cage jackets, but most of the time I wore cage jackets because they were comfortable and I was fat. And that was like wearing a muumuu. So when I did that,
And when you gave me the cage jacket, I was kind of reluctant about wearing it. I
Seth
got
was
to be honest with
reluctant
you.
about wearing it. I told him, I said, you got to have a cage jacket.
Because I was
to coach.
coaching with you, so I had to wear it.
Coaching. We were coaching under
Coaching.
Rawlings.
Yeah.
Rawlings required it, and
Yeah.
which was a good program. By the way, I missed that program so much.
This is a whole new side of
oh,
Seth. See,
it's-
I'm only hockey Seth.
Yeah, he's hockey Seth. You're baseball Seth.
I'm baseball set. So I got the baseball set, and I can remember when I'm sitting over there, our other assistant coach.
Yes.
He was telling me everybody I needed to pick. And your name was brought up. First thing he said, you got to get this kid. His dad's awesome. The kid's a workhorse.
I gave him money to say that.
That's what I figured. I was like, there's no way he's telling me this on purpose. But the kid's a workhorse. The parents are great. You got to pick him. Obviously, I pick him up. And I think I picked up a kid that had one hand that day, too.
Yes, you did. He had one hand.
One hand.
And you know what? He got a couple base hits. He was a great ball player.
Literally had tears in my eyes the day he got the first base hit on that team.
That was awesome.
I went out there. It was the first time I'd been out at FBC. I'd never done rec ball as a coach. I'd always done rec ball as a parent. And when I went out there to tryouts, I swore I was going to go on effort. And one of the kids that I picked up from my first baseman, the reason I picked him up was because he was the only kid that ran after the ball after he missed it. I picked him up.
And that kid is a good
And he
ball
is a
player now.
monster now.
He is. He's in D's a year older than D.
Yes.
And he's
No, he's the same.
No.
He's the same. Oh, is he not?
A whole nother story. I think
Okay.
something else is going on. But he's a year older than D.
He lied to me.
Yes, he lied to a lot of people.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not.
I was
he's
wondering how
playing
he was
in the
6 foot
he's-
tall already.
Yes, he's in varsity. He's on the varsity 8th grade team. So he's in 7th grade. He's playing up on the 8th grade varsity team. Yeah, long story.
with
That's
one
a-
hand?
Anyway.
Well, no, he's not the one-hander. He's the kid that hustled.
The
But he's
kid
a
with one hand.
good person.
The
Young
kid with one
Nolan.
hand. I picked this kid up, and I will never forget the looks on the faces of everybody when I picked him.
Now, what round was this?
4th. I was not going to let the kid go. I want heart. I was basically like the Tennessee coach a long time before he became I wanted 5-star hearts. I wanted champions of life.
Champions of life. Baby. Go Vols.
Go Vols.
But this kid he was a lion out there, and I loved it. He ran after everything. He did everything he could to stop a ball. I never even realized he didn't have a hand until I went up and talked to him.
Started shaking his hand?
Started shaking his hand. I felt like a complete dick.
God.
Tried to fist bump him, and he looked at me and nupped it.
Yeah.
And
no, you jerks.
I got a special place in hell reversion.
Oh, sorry about that.
But the kid was amazing. His parents were just so thankful that I picked him up. And I told him, I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I picked him in the 4th round. They said, you did
what did he play?
He played second base in the outfield.
Yeah, he was a great ball player.
He could flip that. He had the glove on this hand, and he could flip it over on that other arm and throw the baseball. It was the craziest thing ever.
I wish we knew where he is now. I really do.
I wish I could find him. Just to find out
I'd
what
have
he
picked
did.
him too because he had heart. You know, he did have heart.
Heart is everything with me. Heart is everything.
So that was your middle son when you did this?
Yes.
Rec ball?
Yes,
so you
that's my
started
middle
rec ball knowing all of the lessons from travel.
All the lessons from travel, everything I'd learned, and all of the nuances that came with what you get from travel ball.
And you were coaching right away.
Yes, started coaching right away.
And was that your first time coaching, or were you coaching with travel assistant, or were you head coach for travel?
The first time I ever got coaching, ironically enough, I was kind of baited into it because the assistant coach was caught in the dugout drinking. And this was when my oldest
drinking bourbon
was 4 years old.
Oh.
He was 4 years old. The coach got kicked out of the game because he was drinking in the dugout. The umpire saw him. Ugh. The other coach comes over and starts bad-mouthing at my wife. Me and him about come to blows. And he walks away from the team. And I can't in good faith let that go. You know, at the time I was a correctional officer, and that was not going to be a good situation in front of those kids. And it was about to be bad. But I was like, you know what? Nope, I'm going to take the team.
Not in front of kids, yeah.
Not in front of kids. And so I took the team. We finished it out. And I swore I wasn't going to coach, and ended up picking it up and coaching more and coaching more and coaching more.
Yeah, well, when you came here and you did all of that, you got the FBC rec ball,
rec ball, coached, and
the next year. So the next year, I remember you decided to go to an organization to do travel ball. And what did I tell you when you brought this up first?
Don't fucking do it.
Exactly. There's no way I wanted to do that. Absolutely, especially a coach pitch that year too.
Now, what he's not telling you is that my goal was to have a team, and it was a farm team. It was with a group called CBA. I've had dealings with them in Texas. They were good program.
They were
great program. And the goal was to take a group of 7-year-olds and farm them up and keep them together as long as possible, because in Texarkana, that's what happened. Mm-hmm. When you had a team together, you lost very few people. Mm-hmm. They stayed together. They became a family, and you became.
And I'm agreeing with that wholeheartedly, but I still was dead against it.
Dead against it, but I told him since I was picking this kid, he had to come with me.
Well, you know why I ended up going back, because we went back to rec ball and COVID happened.
Yep. Then it shut everything
down.
And
then I'm like, and then you reached out to actually Eric, the other assistant coach reached out to me, and it was like, hey, let's would you want to play? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know, maybe. And my son goes, Dad, I want to play ball.
Yeah, COVID doesn't count.
Yeah, no.
That's a different deal.
Down.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you gotta figure out what's best on that one. So,
yeah. And then we joined the team.
And we started going. We got our asses handed to us.
Bad.
A bunch. But I knew that. And if I'm not mistaken, I had that discussion with every single parent of what was about to happen.
Yeah.
Because these kids were fresh out of rec ball. They had never played travel ball. It plays at a completely different speed.
Yeah.
Coaches are brutal. It's
I remember the best line was ever, these guys were running up the score on us. And our assistant coach would be like, oh, yeah, so that's how you're going to do it? Okay, fine. I'm like, stop. You're going to fight.
This is exactly how it's going to be done, because that's what they're going to do to you.
Yeah, it's travel ball.
And right after that, the floodgates open. Mm-hmm. And what people didn't realize is that while I wasn't here that long, I have ears everywhere. And I've told everybody I can hear everything. I hear and find out everything. I started getting calls. Hey, is your team breaking up?
Yeah.
First question I asked, what numbers are there? And they told me, and I waited and waited
The worst thing is you had tryouts to fill maybe a couple positions.
All we needed was a couple.
Yeah, and we had tryouts, and we actually sat down with that first baseman's parent, couple other parents. We sat down, had beers, and we were like, and you even said, "Do you want me to coach?"
I was going to walk away.
Yeah.
I was going to walk away right then. We were just going to go back to red
And we're
ball.
like, yeah, let's do it. Let's keep it going. Yeah. And right then and there, I dropped freaking $500 on the damn uniforms and all that other fun stuff.
Wait, I remember you complaining about uniforms one time.
Oh, God.
we can get into that.
There was the drama.
It was
I remember this.
Stupid.
It was about 3 years ago.
No, even more than that. So we dropped the uniform. We go ahead and get the uniforms.
Yeah.
And
I'm not paid, by the way, so I have to pay for all this stuff as well.
Yeah.
It's not gifted to me because I'm a coach. I still have to pay.
My son still got that damn bag. He's like, Dad, I need a new bag. I said, you're going to use that damn bag forever. I don't care.
My coaching bag is still my blue and gray bag, and it still has my fungo in it.
So
we sit down, we do all this, we get it all set up. Have tryouts, fill out a couple of spots, found a couple of kids I think are going to work.
Yep.
And then that's when I start getting calls. Hey, we got a couple of kids here from your team. Are y'all breaking up? Not that I know of. What numbers are they? And actually, I think the first call I said, is it numbers such and such, such and such, and such and such? Yep, and yep. So I wait. Nothing. Wait another couple of days. Nothing. Wait a week. Nothing. I call Seth. I said, something's going on. Then I find out, we just go and try out because we just want to see what it's like. No, you don't. You don't go to tryouts for anything to see what it's like. You go there to make a team.
Yep.
And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I called the director and I said, here's what's going on. And he said, I already know. And I said, good. So basically, we're done. They left us high and dry. They left me and 3 other players high and dry, Seth's kid included.
Yeah.
That's what pissed me off more than anything else. To this day, I still say it cost one of the kids from playing again.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
He decided not to play baseball anymore because of that. Mm-hmm. I will hold it to this day that's what happened.
I see his dad at the gym every morning.
I talked to him on Facebook once or twice because I actually reached out to him when I did the Rawlings team.
Yeah.
So
and
that was
he debated it.
Your first foray into head coaching
and travel ball in Tennessee.
Did you swear it off like Seth swears off hockey every March and baseball every August?
Every August.
Or did you go back to the travel coaching?
Actually, at that point, I was so pissed off with travel, and my wife was so pissed off with travel because, we made the cardinal error.
Trust
And friendship.
Yep. Trust.
Oh, yeah, it's business.
You create friends in sports only to be let down tremendously.
Mm-hmm. So, not always.
Not always, because I still.
Hey, Bears too.
There we go.
Clearly.
I do got to
the
tell
right
you though,
mentality.
with Mike. I mean, Mike said something to me during that time, and I'm like, "Dude, are you serious about this?" He goes, "I'm not. I've lost more friends over travel sports than I know what to do with." He goes, "No, I don't care. It sucks. It sucks. It blows." But
we had that same conversation at that restaurant. I don't want to lose friendships over baseball.
Correct.
And every one of them are in agreement.
Are they baseball friendships though? Do they start in sports
until it no longer
until the
those are almost acquaintances.
They are acquaintances.
I have 4 friends in this world. Those are the friends that I'll help. That will help me move a body.
Yeah,
one of them sitting across from me right now.
That's this guy right here. And me and Mike. Listen, I love Mike. I love Mike a lot. And there was some decisions too, and our correctness. What would happen. So we'll just fast forward a little bit more. So Mike coaxed me into coaching again with this travel team last year.
But this time I let him take the reins on who we were taking because I trusted Seth.
Yes, you did.
Well, he's got a spreadsheet.
Yeah,
he's got a whiteboard that he
spreadsheet.
updates the spreadsheet with. He knows everybody, and then
and that's why I utilize Seth because he knows the people that I don't. I know everybody in Murray County. He knows everybody in Williamson County.
Well, I tell you what, we did have some ball players, and I know Mike came to me. He was like, "Listen, I'm thinking about putting another team together," and I'm like, "Oh Christ, what are we doing?" But during that time, we've played summer ball teams. We've had all-star teams at the rec ball. And these kids and the parents, the parents are great too. I still love them. I love every one of those parents. And they're like, well, we really don't want to play travel ball. We don't want to push that issue. And I'm like, let's just get the taste of it. Let's get the taste of it because it's a necessary evil for our kids to get to that next level.
Unfortunately, that is the next step. Once you get out of youth baseball, that is if you want anything to do with anything past high school, you got to do it. As much as you may hate it.
That's the arms race, baby.
That's the arms race. You have to
race.
succumb to the bullshit of travel.
And that's what we're trying to do here is we're trying to help people navigate the arms race so the kids get to high school.
Yeah.
Without burning out, without becoming,
Or you can just make a whole lot of cookies and stand by the fence.
Yeah, you can do that too.
But
Just saying.
how did it do?
Honestly, that team was a good team. They got to work, and we set the precedence real early that we're not going to interfere with rec ball because they had already had commitments.
Yeah,
and I was not going to do that. I was going to make sure that they were able to take care of their commitments of rec ball. We were not going to enter more than 6 tournaments, and that was just how it was. I said, because you need to dip your toes in it. This is not something you just dive full into, because I felt like that's kind of what the reasoning behind people leaving is. First and foremost, if you're not winning, they don't want to be there. Second, if you play too much, they're going to feel like
It's
overwhelming.
What's too much? 4 times a week?
That's too
5
much.
times
That's
a week?
too much.
That's too
That's too
much.
much. If you're playing more than 40 games in a year, college barely plays more than that.
That's too
High
much.
school plays 30 games.
Yeah.
Why are you playing more than that?
But
have
as far as
you ever
like-
seen a professional baseball game more than a doubleheader?
Well, I think there's too many games in baseball. I think you should make it 100 games, and that would pay more attention.
No.
But as far
Yeah, I love
as
baseball.
days a week,
162, they're too posh anyway. They get to sit on luxury.
how many days a week is the sweet spot?
I think 3 days to 2 days a week.
Yeah.
A practice during the week and a tournament or a game or a scrimmage on the weekend.
I've said for a lot of times, you take the age of the kid, you multiply it by 10. That's how many minutes you have of their attention. You have a 4-year-old, you multiply it by 10, 40 minutes. That's all you got. After that, they're done. 12-year-olds, you got about 2 hours. After that, they're done.
Yeah.
So
That's a good equation.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
It is. It's
I'm going to
something-
write that one down.
Yeah, I mean,
Put that on
it's
a
something
beer
to keep in
league
mind.
t-shirt.
It's something to keep in mind. I mean, because if you're out there and you're overworking them, then you're setting the precedence that you're expecting way too much out of them. That you now set to them that I've practiced all this much. The parents have seen us practice all this much. You go out and get your ass handed to you 30-0. What the hell was it for?
Yeah.
Okay, so you set the
Who
precedence.
benefits out of that?
Nobody benefits.
No one benefits.
Nobody benefits. So you have to take it and you have to kind of ease your way into it. It's a lot like anything else. I mean, when you start a job, there's a training section. You're not the best at it when you start it. So if you don't learn how to do your job, then you're going to suck at it. You're going to get fired. That's how you go. That's how you approach it with travel ball. If you go in with the mindset that we're going to create this power team, anybody can take a team that's full of nothing but studs and just manage them.
Yeah.
I like coaching. I want to see a kid go from I can't throw from third to first, and then by the end of the season, he's my starting third baseman.
Yeah. It's the best feeling.
It's the best feeling in the world. And I don't do it for my satisfaction. I do it because I want to see that kid grow. I want to see him become something that he never in his mind thought he would be.
So how do you approach the kids with that?
You have to
mindset?
have
you
have
kind
to have
of
a psychology degree. Because if you have one specific style of coaching for 12 kids, you're
Not
done.
gonna happen.
You have to have 13 different methods. And I say 13 because there's always an outlier for one day. You have 12 kids, you got to have 13 different ways. And each kid has got his own problems. You don't know what's going on at home. You don't know how they're
Yeah.
treated after the game. So you have to approach it. Some kids you can piss off and you get the best out of them. Some kids, if you piss off, they're
shut down.
done.
They're
They're
shut
done.
down.
My kid is one of them. You piss him off, he'll quit. And I'll learn that. And I've learned that over time.
I'm going to stop you there. If you piss him off, he's done.
Yeah, exactly.
But if
Exactly.
someone other than you as a coach does it,
and that's
kind of gets a little pissed.
and that is what Seth and I did with this last team.
Yeah. What about the good cop, bad cop?
That is what we
assistant
did.
Coach?
We
How do
made
you
an
approach
agreement.
that?
We made an agreement that I would coach his kid, he would coach my kid, and we did that. He stayed off of his, I stayed off of mine. He handled, my kid. I handled his, and it worked. We got the best out of them, and they flourished. They did really well.
It's probably a good default.
yeah, no, you have to. Yeah,
And my biggest thing is that I do not allow. I try to not allow my kid to call me dad on the field. I don't want him calling me dad. because the rest of the team, that shows preference. That means that at some point, the dad coach. Yeah,
Go ahead.
Wait,
There's a
I see
book
the
I
book.
did bring here, The Dad Coach. This is actually a awesome book. This is a
you wrote
second.
that book?
No, he
No,
should have.
I didn't write the book.
This is the backup book of the Matheny Manifesto.
Mike Matheny's
So,
awesome.
so I mean, we're going to just go on to a little bit more coaching thing. Every time when I coach, I tell my parents before every meeting, before the game season starts, you have to read the Matheny Manifesto before you even speak to me. It's a it's a great thing. I'll let you on your own go read the book, Matheny Manifesto. All coaches will love you for it as parents. Read it and understand it before you even have that talk. This is a backup book for more of the coach dad. I've been reading this, and it has helped me too tremendously, even coaching.
And if you do research
How
on Mike
so?
Matheny, you get even more deeper detail on why that book is important. Matheny is a genius.
Genius. I mean, just even something that I put in my clipboard in front of the kids. Just something that tells me about competitive edges. You know, it just breaks it down. You know, edges. E. What is it? E for? So you tell me your teammates. E. Education. Knowing the game of baseball. I mean, that's basic right there. D for edges. D. Discipline. Hard work. Extra work at home. G. Grit. Stand out. Dive for balls. Get dirty. E. Enthusiasm. Be excited. When you're a coach, when you're in the teammates, this is it. Be excited. Play. You know, it's all about your teammates. You get a base hit, scream and yell. Go enjoy.
Pick your team up on a fly ball, sack fly, sack bunt. If your guy gets out and he still moves a run, that's a success.
And
that's a baseball play.
The last one is S. Is the most important that I tell the kids. Selflessness.
Absolutely.
That is the best thing, and especially that builds your team. And I got this out of this book here, and this book is so far. I'm not done with it yet. It is awesome. So I wrote it down, I typed it up, and I give it to my kids. Yeah. I go, this is our learning experience right here. Competitive edges. So if you do that, it's an edge, edge over the other teams. These are what we do here. We push this. You know, again, we revert back to what we said earlier. Baseball is 90% mental.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as you have your kids in mental capacity and okay, hey man, everything's just going to come to you. It's going to be great. You have to be mentally prepared with baseball.
The biggest thing I tell my parents, pre-meeting, whether it's travel ball, whether it's rec ball, the first thing is I set the guidelines. Inside the fence, they're mine. I'm going to love them like they're mine. I'm going to treat them like they're mine. I'm going to pat them on the butt when they're good. I'm going to let them know when they did wrong. I'm not going to get mad at them. Because I tell them, I expect errors. I don't expect perfection. If you expect perfection,
mental mistakes, no.
Walk away. But there's no reason for it.
And what do you do when you have a problem, kid? Like, how do you approach
You
that?
have to figure out what the root of the problem is. 99% of the time, it's outside that fence sitting on a bleacher.
Yep.
And that is because the expectations set on the parent for the kid is beyond what your expectation is. My expectation is for them to show up to every practice,
drop them off,
give
and go.
me 100%. I would be fine if I didn't see a parent all season.
Well, that's
That'd
what
be perfect.
Honestly, the book of the Matheny Manifesto puts things in perspective for that. Like Mike said, he goes, you know, it's the parent that has the problem.
Who do you think costs? What do you think is the direct reason with a lot of kids either drop it out of sports? It's not because they fail. It's because they don't have the support system at home,
or the pressure, too much pressure
given
on
to them. They feel like now I don't have this. I've told my 18-year-old from the time he started, I don't expect you to play. There is literally 10 million ball players out there. Out of that 10 million, 10% that's going to play in high school. Out of that 10%, 10% of that's going to go to college. Out of that percent, 1% is going to go into the pros in the minor league system, and out of that, 1% is going to go into the show. You do the math however you want to.
Yep.
Out of 10 million players, matter of fact, if you really want to get
That's
technical
beer
about
league
it,
math.
if you really want to get technical about it,
That's exactly
you
why
can
we're
take
here.
every player that has ever been rostered in the history of baseball, and you cannot fill up Busch Stadium. You still have empty seats. In the history of baseball and professional sports that have taken the field on a professional setting on a roster, you can't even fill up a baseball stadium.
And that puts things in perspective too. Even baseball. Baseball is bigger here in Nashville. We earlier we had a hockey podcast too about it, and that's why this is beer league. It's called beer league because for a reason. it all ends in beer league. And hockey, beer league baseball, beer league whatever, football.
Well, I think 30 years ago, that was understood.
Yeah.
That was the general rule, is that we're doing this to learn life skills, to have teammates, to understand adversity, to, build confidence, and to work hard. Mm-hmm. But somewhere along the way, and I'm not blaming Tiger's dad, but somewhere in the 90s, in the 2000s, it started to become something much more, and the pressure became more, and the industry grew, and people are spending more money to keep up with the Joneses and everything. So what we're trying to do is help people get back to the general idea of why we're doing sports, and to get to high school, to get to high school ball,
The end
to
game,
keep them out of trouble.
The end game for any player, and I told him now, your end game should be high school baseball. Mm-hmm. If you want to play that. If you don't want to play that, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Go be an engineer. Go be a doctor. Go be a chef. It doesn't matter. Find what you want to do. Find what you love. Mm-hmm. But your end game should never be college. It should be baseball. It should be high school.
High school.
Because the chances of you making it out of that, especially with today's way, it is so hard to get into play college ball.
And it's a job.
Impossible.
It's a full-time job
It's a
with
job.
all kinds of overtime, and you're not getting paid. Well, some of them might, but probably
now,
not anything. Probably nothing.
Nowadays, you have 5:30 wake-ups for workouts. Mm-hmm. This is a college athlete. It's coming from verbatim from a college athlete that stayed at my house right now. 5:30 workouts. 7:30 mealtime. Mm-hmm. Then you've got practice at 9 o'clock. Then you've got studies at 12 o'clock. Then you've got workouts at 4 o'clock. Then you've got study hall at 6 o'clock. Then you got to figure out time to make sure you're doing your grades.
What about your girlfriend?
Yeah, exactly.
What's that?
Yeah, that's what college kids.
What's
My
that?
God, that's massive burnout. We've talked earlier about the hockey reasons too, and the push and the pressure on these kids. In hockey, I mean, it's such a smaller community, and especially in Nashville. Listen, there may be less than 0.5% that will make it in hockey here. Yeah. Baseball, you got 1%, if that, in baseball.
Well, in baseball, you're considered made it if you even get drafted.
Exactly.
You may not ever see the field in a professional setting.
Yeah.
So with all that in mind, with your 18 and 12 and 5-year-old, what would you suggest to people to not be crazy and get blown up with their drip, but how to get to the high school game? What now that you've been through several cycles, what lessons would you pull from those to say for someone who's got a 5, 6, 8-year-old, how do they get to high school without getting burnt out, but still have a chance? How do you thread that needle?
Let them be a kid. Let him be a kid. You've got to understand that at one point it's all going to come to an end. Mine, for my oldest, came to an end about 3 months ago, and I remember I texted Seth and I said, it's over. It's over. And he came to me crying, and it wasn't because he thought he let me down. Because I told him at no point will he ever let me down when it comes to that. I played for 15 years. He gave me 15 years of memories I can never lose. And I told him, I said, we knew it was going to end one day. It was hard for me. It was hard for me to hear him say that he'll never play baseball again. But it made me realize that every single year that I got to watch him play, I let him do it on his own accord. I got all my stuff. I got my trophies. I got an attic full of trophies of everything that I ever did. I got to watch him do what he loved, and I stayed out of the way. I practiced with him. When he wanted me to go play catch with him, I go play catch with him.
Absolutely.
When he wanted me to go out there and fungo him to first base and learn how to scoop and do all that stuff, I did. When he wanted me to take him batting practice, I did. I never made him go. Mm-hmm. I never once told him, "Hey, we got to go to work."
That's huge, Mike. I mean, that's the best part, and I can echo what you're saying. I'd rather watch my son play hockey or baseball, or coach other kids in baseball, and just put a team than sit here and watch TV.
I don't even get in the team pictures if they take one.
No,
that's not me.
No, I don't.
My coaching. My job is during practice. I get up there, I make the roster, I sit in the sideline. You may hear me yell out every once in a while doing whatever I do, but you coach during practice. You let the boys play. If they win a tournament, I'm not even in the picture. I don't even want to be in the picture. No. That's not me. I didn't win that. They did.
So there's got to be a passion.
There's a passion there.
But you kind of can instill the passion.
You can create a passion.
Culture. You can create a culture.
But you had 3 that
Yeah.
that got bitten by it.
Well, the best thing is about he's got the 3. They all feed off of each other.
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
my oldest has been playing, and my middle child was going to the ball field. I mean, he was at the ball field as a baby. He got to watch it grow up. I remember he called my oldest's first home run ever. He was on the playground off on the side. We were in Kentucky. And this kid went up, and this guy walked up to him and was like, hey, who's your brother? He was like, he's number 16. He's about to hit a home run. Next pitch, bam. It was his first ever over-the-fence home run.
That's awesome.
That's all he did. He watched him. I've got a picture that's still my wife and I's favorite picture of him. It's my oldest up there warming up swinging, and it's this brother with his number on his back that just says Bubba. And he's just sitting there holding the fence looking at him. It's a silhouette picture. It's still my favorite picture of all time with them. And now my youngest is watching my middle, and he's wearing the same number. And I told my oldest, I said, you need to understand what you set the precedence for. They all wear the same number you do because they look up to you for what you did. They don't wear my number. I don't have a number. They wear your number. And they want to be like you. And I tell them, I don't want another Jackson. I don't want another. I don't want another you. I want you. I want you at your best. You be the best version of you. Tom Brady said it best. Don't be me.
Yeah.
Be the best version of you. And that's what I tell all of these kids now. I've got kids that have no business being on a baseball field, but they love it. Mm-hmm. Their parents, they're not kids that don't want to be there. They want to come out there. I drafted them to a majors team. I've got 3 kids right now that have no business on a majors team. They have all done something this year they have never done before. One of them, smallest kid on my team, I put him out to pitch. He struck a kid out.
That's awesome.
He struck the number 4 batter team on that, the number 4 kid on that team. Struck him out looking. Big kid.
See,
Struck
I'm going
him
to
out.
tell you, just so you're just telling me this, and this is how I'm checking you as a friend. Remember that, because that's rec ball.
Yeah.
And enjoy that
Absolutely.
feeling. Remember when this happens. I'm gonna check you, Mike, because I love you. Stay that when travel happens, let it just happen. Just let it
Travel
go.
still happens with my middle kid.
I know he does.
And I sit out
know
there
it.
and I don't
It's going
say
to happen
anything.
for your young one
But
too.
here's the thing.
Don't coach him.
I'm not going to coach him. I'm not going to coach him. I
Okay.
will coach rec level.
Yes.
I'm done with travel.
Yes.
I'm done with
Yes.
travel as far as coaching.
I'm okay with that.
I can't devote that kind of time anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It takes so much time to get all that. You have to find resources. You have to find locations. You have to find tournaments. You have to get.
It's
money.
a lot of GMing.
It
a
is.
lot of
It is.
GMing.
And the rec thing, I can just kind of pick up and go. I go from work, I go straight to the field.
Yeah.
All I do is I get on Game Changer, I set the roster, and I go. The funniest parts of it, I mean, this has probably been one of the best seasons I've had. And the funniest part was I had a kid, he's 9. His mom asked me to do him a favor because her youngest is my youngest best friend. They are BFFs, they are buddies. And they play T-ball together. And his oldest brother is 9. And I said, is he going to play ball? She said, yeah. I said, do you care if he's in the majors? I said, because I'll coach him if you want him. She goes, do you think he'll be okay? I said, that's up to you. I said, that's not up to me. I said, if you don't want him there, I said, I will not draft him. I said, but if you want him there, he'll be available and I'll take him. She goes, yes, please.
Okay.
I want him on a team where he's going to learn. About 6 games into it, he's been begging me to pitch. And my oldest has been working with him a little bit. My oldest now coaches with me, by the way. He has reverted from playing baseball to now coaching baseball. And I'm going to tell you,
He'll probably be a great coach.
Seth has seen him with these boys. These boys love him.
They love him
because he teaches them that aspect that I can't teach them of the new age of baseball that I don't have.
Well, you don't even. I mean, it is different.
It's different.
It is different, and they're not going to look at you. You know, the kids are not going to look at you and go, "What's this old guy telling me what to do? He don't really know the nuances of the new day of baseball, the flips, the bling."
And they don't realize all this stuff is what I taught him. They don't realize that they're saying they got an 18-year-old telling them they don't.
TikTok highlight reel.
Exactly.
He can help him with that if
Yeah,
you teach him
and-
the fundamentals.
So he's been working with this kid, and he worked on a pitch, and he even told me, he was like, you need to let him pitch one time. Get those darts. I'm like, all right, cool. He doesn't throw the hardest, but he throws darts. I said, all right. So I looked at him. I said, hey, you're pitching next inning. His eyes got big as a damn dollar. And next thing I hear is his mom behind me is like, Coach,
What are you
You're
doing?
going to let my kid pitch?
Oh,
I said,
my God,
what, no
shut
faith?
up.
Yeah.
And she's laughing. No. She. This is all jokes. You know, she trusts me.
Yeah.
But I said, no faith? She goes, oh, I have 100% faith in you, but he's never done that before. I said, let's see what happens.
That's the point.
I said, let's see what happens. He gets out there, and guess what? Three down.
Beautiful.
2 strikeouts and a ground out.
Beautiful.
I looked at her. I said, that's why he
That's
pitched.
growth.
And that's why
That's why
you
he
coach, Mike. That's why you coach. And and it's funny because I can relate to you. This will be officially my last year of coaching.
No, it won't.
Okay, remember
Remember that
episode 5.
Episode 5. What time is that on this thing? I know.
done.
As
I will be
Dion
done.
says, I keep receipts. And
No.
all I have to do is make a phone call.
It's true though. This one's going to be an emotional end to me. I am coaching a rec ball team, and we have a game tomorrow, and we're in the playoffs. But we also, I'm coaching a summer team right now for a summer all-star team, and I think after that will be done.
Well, you got middle school coming up, right? I mean, how does that work?
I'm not coaching that.
But how does it even work?
He's got to try out. He's got to try out and make the team. He didn't make the team this year.
And it's 6th, 7th, and 8th?
6th, 7th, and 8th.
And he didn't make it in 6th.
No, he
Nor
not.
did mine.
No.
Well,
Nor did mine.
Why would you expect him to make it?
Because there was kids on the team that made it that I coached before, and my son definitely, in his eyes, should have made it. I told him no, I didn't think he would. But again, he has to put the work in. But now, since he got cut, he is taking that extra level. And again, I'm sitting back. I'm not saying a damn thing to him with that. Like,
Yeah,
earlier.
how do you handle getting cut? I mean, I think it probably, some people say it's the best thing that ever happened to him. But
Best thing that ever happened to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
what would be your advice for parents or coaches?
I'm going
or
to tell
what-
you both as parents and coaches with my son. I look at him, and he had to go into his room. He was crying. He was very upset, and I opened the door, sat down with him, and you hug him. Obviously, you hug him. You tell him you love him, and you just look at him and go, "Okay, the ball is in your court now.
Yeah,
If you want to play baseball at this level,
I'll help you.
I'll help you. I'll push you." But if you don't, like you said, Mike said, "Hey, Dad, can you give me a couple ground balls? Can you do batting practice with me?" If your kid doesn't do that, he will tell you without even telling you that he's going to want the next level.
Which goes back to let him be a kid.
Exactly. But it also leads out to be the crazy parent that force kids to go ahead to push them to go, "Oh, you need to do batting practice. You need to do this." And then what happens is they get burnt out and they're saying, "Screw you. I'm going to get a job and meet chicks." And that's exactly what it comes down to.
And like with mine. So mine did not make his first year tryouts either. And he actually came to me after, and it was a very piss poor situation set up on him. It was his it was the second day of football practice. And this was his first year playing true football. He decided to play for the middle school. Because I'm a big proponent of
5th or 6th grade.
At this time, he was 6th grade, and he still is 6th grade, but he's about to go.
So
to
he
7th.
didn't do 5th grade. He just
They are not
hopped
allowed to
into
do
it.
5th grade.
Oh,
You have to be 6th grade or higher. And
so that's the first year. That's
that
just
was his
getting-
first year. So his first time he got pads on, and then they had baseball tryouts that same day. He was gassed, and he even came back and he said, "Hey, there's no way I made that team." I said, "You never know." I said, "Because here's the thing. There's a JV squad. There's a varsity squad." I said, "Are you going to make the varsity?" "Absolutely not." I said, "There's so much difference between an 8th grader and a 6th grader. Not even funny.
No, it is
Physically,
amazing.
mentally, emotionally, it's just so different."
Well, you can also tell, Mike, I'm going to tell you even more so. You can tell if your kid will want to play. Like, to answer your question a little earlier, Greg, about what do you do as a parent or as a coach, your kid will tell you without even telling you. So, when I was growing up, I'm sure when Mike was growing up, I would go to the sandlot and we'd play baseball. We'd have our people. We'd have enough people. And it's funny. I'm going to segue this into a friend of mine I was talking today, and he goes, "Have you ever played Indian ball?" I said, "What the hell is that?"
Is that cricket?
It's not cricket, but we're going to try to get a call in right now. A friend of mine.
I'm really afraid to go into this segment
Yeah,
because
no,
I'm afraid we're going to get really gross.
It was
on this one.
no, it's not. He told me about Indian ball, and again, when you go out to the sandlot and you play, and you don't have enough guys. And we're going to call a friend of mine about what the hell is Indian ball.
This is another Mike. We got Mike and Mike.
Mike and Mike.
Gotta
Let's see
love
if Mike
and
picks
in the
up here.
afternoons.
Mi-
I just got a text from my wife asking how long I'm going to be here, and I told her, I said, "Well, we're talking and drinking."
Here we go.
We're about to talk about Indian ball.
Here we go. I think Indian ball.
This is Mike.
Hello, Mike. This is the podcast of baseball.
Oh,
Of
my
are you there?
Yeah, we're here.
All right. Hey, Mike. This is Seth.
Welcome to Beer League.
We're in Beer League podcast. I was talking about you today, and you brought up a thing called Indian ball. We're trying to figure out. I'm trying to explain it, but Mike's from St. Louis, and he's played Indian ball when he was growing up. Mike, can you explain Indian ball to us?
Well, I got my partner in crime here from St. Louis, John.
What's up, John?
And we're currently in Knoxville,
Okay.
eating at Smoky Mountain Brewery.
Go Vols.
But Indian ball was purely a game as kids that when you didn't have enough people to play, you would just divide up how many people you had, 4, 6, maybe 2, and you'd essentially make up your own baseball game, with just different rules. And I'm not sure why it was called Indian ball. I'm not sure where that name originated from. Maybe there weren't a lot of Indians back in the day that played baseball. I don't know.
Maybe it was the Cleveland Indians guys that started it.
I call it Guardian Ball.
Oh my
That's
God.
right.
Yeah, it's the 2025 version.
Well, John, what was your new name for it?
My new name for it was Indigenous Peoples Ball.
There you go.
There you go. There you go.
We're going to cut
like
this
it.
segment.
But we were just talking about how you don't see kids playing baseball anymore at the Sandlot, and if you didn't have your 8 or 9 kids, boom, you got Indian ball, and Indian ball would go, and that would be perfect.
No,
What are the
and I
different
think
rules? So what do you mean you make up rules?
You would make up rules depending on where you were. So like we had a rule when I played with my brothers that, if it was just him and I, to get out, once he hit it, if I got a hold of the ball before it stopped moving, he was out. So obviously when I pitched to him, if he hit it a long way, I couldn't get to it. Well, that would be, and if you hit it past a certain point, if you hit it past a certain point, that's a single. Doubles, triples.
Oh, that makes
home
perfect
runs,
sense.
base
I get
runs.
that. We do that in the backyard when it's just
Yeah.
me and my 2 sons, and we can,
Because I'm
there's
too
only so
lazy to
much you
run
can
after a
do.
ball. You hit it past that tree. I'm not running. I'm too old and fat for this.
Okay.
Or if it got stuck in the bush, it would be out. So we kind of really, I guess, as I think about it, we were probably the pure inventors of banana league.
I was
baseball.
just fixing to
Oh,
say
yeah.
that sounds like banana ball, but back a
Banana
long
ball.
time ago.
You know what, Mike? You need a good lawyer to sue the banana team. I know
Yeah,
one.
we had it. If it got stuck in the bush, it didn't touch the ground. You're out.
Mr. Seth, I know a guy.
Oh, Mike. Well, I want to say thank you for answering the phone over there, and thank you for getting us involved in Indian ball, because I was like, we just had a segue of it and talking about other sports, about how kids don't really go out and play ball anymore. But, if you didn't have 9 guys, you had 4 guys, and go out and make your own rules and play ball, and that's something that doesn't happen anymore. Kids don't have that originality to do that.
Well, because there's Minecraft.
Well, we were talking about
Fortnite.
that today at one of our meetings with our company about the people that you hire nowadays. Their interpersonal skills are not that good because
Woof.
they haven't had the ability to go out and play, and talk with each other and work it out. Like when you played Indian ball, you had to come up with the rules. You had to work through an issue, and that took communication versus we didn't text each other or, it's like you got to communicate out there. So
Yeah.
I think it's doing a disservice to these.
It really
I
is.
sound old now. All these phones.
No, you're not. No,
No.
believe me,
Preach.
we're old.
Preach.
There we go, Mikey. All right, buddy. You be good. Thank you so much for
I'll talk
that. Have a great night.
Okay. See
Take
ya.
care, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
I think I'm going to call it Indiana Ball.
Let's call it Indiana ball.
Indiana
Let's
ball.
call it Indiana ball.
Yeah, but he's right. I mean,
Who's your ball?
when you're texting these people, the thing about texting,
Yeah.
you can think out, you can delete it, and you perfectly decide what you want to say and how long you want to wait.
There's
when,
no
when you're
recourse
playing
for if you make a
Indiana
bad
ball
decision
and the
to-
rules are changing, and you've got to talk and you got to look people in the eye,
Yeah.
and you got to figure out how the hell you're going to resolve this issue.
Yeah, because you got somebody over there like, oh, no, that's not what we said. Yeah, it is.
And then
That's
usually
what
what
we
would
said.
happen is a fight. That doesn't happen anymore. Kids don't resolve
But-
conflict with throwing down.
But then what happened after the fight?
You still hung out after.
Still hung
you had,
out.
You had
Y'all
a peanut butter
realized,
sandwich
you know
when you
what?
went
This
back.
dude, I'm not fighting him again because he done whipped my
Well,
ass.
you don't really know somebody until you fight them.
That's a great line. We've talked about that one too. You know, and again, let's narrow it down here. I mean, travel baseball, it's pretty much the same as travel hockey, as we talked about earlier. You have your crazy parents, your nut parents, and again, we're in the arms race. It's hockey. It has all these things that we've talked about earlier about shooting classes, skating classes, goalie classes, baseball, pitching classes, catching clinics, shortstop, first base play, base running,
POs.
It's a mess, but we all, I know me personally, like the early on, we're all guilty of it as parents to do this, to make sure we're there and make sure your kid gets more than you did when you're growing up.
And that's kind of what it goes to, is that the people that have one kid that's just really good, and the sad part is that they get focused on it. They have multiple kids and only one of them plays baseball. They end up getting focused on way more, and it causes more problems at home. But you always have that inherent want, like you said. I want my kid to have what I didn't. I want him to be better than I was. And you kind of get lost in translation of what that really means. You want him to be better than you are, but you also want to make sure that he has the same experience that you did. You want the same memories that you have. My memories of playing baseball, I still talk to the guys that I played baseball with.
That's another thing, as I was saying. My hockey friends, my baseball friends are still my best friends today. We'll have them on the podcast here coming up. Growing up, my baseball friends, I'm still great friends with them. My great friends with the hockey guys. And sports is a great tool to always have your best friends.
It was social media before social media was around.
Well, and also, too, I mean, we're here for a reason, right? We're here together because I'm friends with Greg because of hockey. Our kids' hockey. I'm friends with you because of my son's baseball. Mike that just called up, we're friends with him through my wife and his wife
and now
are great friends from dance.
And now Indian ball.
We're going to get that. But that's what it is as you grow, as growing up, you want your kids in these sports, and because we've became great friends over the years, it's real. It's not acquaintances.
No.
We become friends.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm getting the text messages again, so I'm going to have to probably.
Well, sum it up for us real quick. What
do
lessons have you learned? What are you going to do different?
Yeah, what are you going to do
different?
From travel T-ball
to
2025? Sum it up real quick.
Sum it up.
Are you going to put your youngest in travel T-ball?
Hell no.
Thank you.
Hell no.
Are you putting him in travel coach pitch?
Hell no.
Thank you.
So here's the thing. I've coached kids from all levels. I've coached kids that have played pro. That one of them is still playing pro. I've watched him play when he was just a snot-nosed, never could even hit the broadside of a barn when he was pitching. And I use that story all the time. This kid sucked. He could throw it hard, but he could not hit the broadside of a barn.
Don't care how hard you threw ball for.
As he got older, he got with the right people. His again, it goes back to his effort, his heart. Yeah. His parents had a good support system. His kid's pitching in the majors now. Michael Walker. He's from Texarkana.
Yeah.
Now watch him go. He won a state championship. His best buddy that played across town, Will Middlebrooks, same thing. We knew him when he was playing and won a state championship with this school. Guys, listen, I've heard a coach one day tell a kid that your ceiling is closing. Your time frame is closing. Your window's closing. No, you're not. This was at 12 years old. And I pulled that kid off to the side. He was in tears. I wasn't even a coach on this team. I just pulled him off the side and said, your window's not closing. I said, you're 12 years old. You got 6 years left at a minimum of playing this sport if you want to play. Do not ever let anybody tell you what you can or cannot do. You make your own path. Make your path what you want to make it.
Awesome.
And the parents, if I can give one piece of advice for anything, is that just shut up and just watch your kid play ball.
Shut up.
Stop trying to bring a bigger speaker than the other team and play Red Rum while they're playing what is that? And They Not Like Us, and all that. Well, I get all that stuff. I get that it pumps the kids up, and you want your kid doing all this stuff. You want to paint the mustache and the beard with the eye black and shit. You know what? Listen, at the end of the day, what's going to happen is when you become that parent, the first thing you're going to say to them when you get in the car when the game's over,
what kind of ice cream you want?
That should be. The kid's going to ask you the first question out of their mouth because
How'd I
they're
do?
looking for approval is, how did I do? My answer to my kid is,
What ice cream?
no. My answer to my kid is, you did good.
Yeah.
I don't care if he didn't do good at all.
But I'm going to stop you here, Mike. I mean, we're going pretty long here, but we'd like to do one more segment that we've always do. We do Get Off My Lawn. Who do you think should be getting off our lawn? And these questions are for you. And we kind of brought it out here to make sure if we know, who would you want off the lawn, and give me reasons why.
All right, so this is a classic here, and it's in the news, but who's getting off your lawn? Pete Rose or Mark McGuire? All right, well, people are talking about Pete Rose, and they're kind of changing their position. What do you think? Who would get off your lawn?
I still, to this day, I don't care what people say, and I may get roasted for it. Charlie Hustle is welcome in my house anytime, dead or alive. I don't care.
I'm with you on that.
The man hit 4,256 career hits without
amazing you still know that.
without any substance.
Yeah.
He played 3,000.
I still didn't like him
800
knocking
games?
out Barry Foodie, though.
It is what it is. But he played over
all-star
3,000 games. He holds the lead in how many games he's played. He holds the lead in how many hits he's made.
So who's getting off your lawn?
Mark McGuire, get the fuck off my lawn.
All right, here we go.
All right,
This one's very easy.
This
I
is
can tell
Robin
you right
Ventura.
No, it's not.
now. Very easy.
or David
David Freese, get the fuck off my lawn.
Told you
hit
about
the
that.
Game 6 home run in the 2010 or 2011 World Series for the Cardinals. No. No. David
See?
Freese can go and kick rocks.
See, I knew that one would get
Robin
him, right?
Ventura
Isn't that
done got
much
his
to
from
speak?
Nolan
All right,
Ryan.
I've got one for Seth here. And This
okay.
is a new one. This is a three-peat. But
three-peat.
We've got Greg Popovich.
Ooh, Papa.
We've got Mel Kiper.
Mel Kiper.
Or the Newark Airport.
Oh, my God.
I've
You
never
know
been to
what?
Newark Airport.
Newark Airport right now is a complete shithole.
What
Oh, my
is the
God.
problem up there?
There's a mess. I don't even know where to begin. So, I would say, as much as I hate Newark Airport and the area around Newark Airport, but you know what? I have made some good friends out there in Newark when I was up there. Again, Jersey is Jersey. It's Jersey. I mean, it's always Newark Airport will never be on the lawn. And Mel Kiper, though, I can't stand that
I thought this
mongoloid.
might be the way.
This Mel Kiper, that guy, he looks like a mongoloid. You should draft this guy because I said so. Well, the guy's a moron.
To this day, Mel Kiper saying that the worst pick the Kansas City Chiefs ever made. And as a Chiefs fan, lifelong, not a freaking bandwagon like all these people like to say, because I'm from Arkansas. It was either the Cowboys or the Chiefs, and I'll be damned if I'm a Cowboys fan. He says, and I quote, the Chiefs had a chance to pick up a quality quarterback and a generational quarterback in Deshaun Watson. Instead, they chose
Patrick
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And so, as I count the 3 rings that Mahomes has now,
And
in the
Deshaun
6 years,
Washington-
and
Deshaun
Deshaun Watson
Watson
is
is-
counting how many masseuses
He
he's gone
loves
through.
the massages. And I hope not the one that sponsors our show. I can tell you that.
No,
I'd be
I don't
pretty
think it's.
pissed
I don't
off.
think it's that one.
It's
I
a
think,
Tucker deal.
I think
Yeah.
that's a higher class than masseuse. So,
Yeah.
Mel Kiper in my book can
Gone.
stay off
All
of
right.
every
Yeah,
level.
Mel
But
Kiper,
I had
that
a
was-
special gift.
Oh, my
here
God.
Oh, for
for
Newark Airport plane.
right
That is
for
right
you,
there. Oh,
Seth.
thank you
This
so
is
much. There you go, Newark.
in memory of the
Plane of the
Newark
enemy.
traffic control people.
Yeah, I
Plane of the
actually have some friends of mine. They had traffic control up there in New York, and they are not happy of what's going on, how much of a hot mess it is. Well, Mike, I got to say thank you so much
I
for coming on the
appreciate you
show.
having me.
and
I'm good. I love this. This is awesome. I
we
like
just sit
having
here,
discussion.
we just sitting, shooting the breeze, and having a couple pops.
I
And
don't mind giving my opinion on it because here's the thing. I've never been one to hold my opinion on anything, but I'm always one to say if anybody's ever looking for advice, I'm here for it. I've lived a lot of lives.
and so again, if you get a chance, read this book. It's a great book.
Mike Matheny's a genius, guys.
He is. All right, everybody.
All
Again,
right.
thank you so much for everything. Here's
Hope I
to
can come
Greg.
back.
Thank you, Greg.
Hey, thanks for coming out, guys. I hope we can.
Hope I can come back one day.
Hey,
So I
you're
can
a
talk
friend
about
of the
some
show.
more stuff.
Friend of the
You're
show.
a friend
You
of the
always
show now.
Awesome.
be prepared to get a phone call too sometimes. So, You're a expert on coaching and travel baseball. So everyone say, guys, thank you so much again for the coming into the Get Off My Lawn studios. Here it is, episode 5, the end, Beer League. Good night.
Peace.